maxed out on pit road. Here's what some of the drivers expect today.
Yeah, so probably my favorite track in the first bit is Darlington. I love that place. It's one of the toughest tracks I've ever done. I can't imagine 2 corners ever being so difficult.
I would say that one of the toughest tracks is Darlington, because you've changed so much. Darlington has to be one of the toughest racetracks.
Yeah, I'd say Darlington. That's been a place I feel like, the past year and a half, 2 years, no matter how good or bad the car might be driving in practice, I know that we're going to be fast in the race.
All right, Larry has today's Keystone Light Race strategy.
Well, Mike, it's so easy. 4 tires every stop, every chance you get. Split all 3 stages in half, maybe that final stage at 108 laps, possibly in the thirds, and it's about give and take, race to racetrack. This old racetrack is your toughest competitor today.
Thanks, Larry. Kevin, how much power did that Boss 429 have? That was a real Wood Brothers race engine in both those cars.
Well, we need to take that motor out and put it right in one of these things. That's how much power it had. Those things were awesome to drive, and I just can't believe that they ran as fast as they did in those cars after sitting in there. It's not like anything I've ever driven.
They're nuts, Mike. He was hit brakes, no brakes. I'm like, hey, buddy, they're drum brakes on that baby. All horsepower, no stopping with them things. I can't believe he got that opportunity. Felt so good, and he cannot tell you just how much horsepower those have.
You ready?
Crazy, blew my mind. I'm jealous. That looked like a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, and thank you to the Wood Brothers for letting us drive those 2 historic cars. But that's what this weekend is all about, to be able to show the history and the heritage of this sport, to have those cars and people at the racetrack with the Wood Brothers family. That goes to almost every team in the garage, so a lot of history in this sport.
Now, most days you can see both of those cars in the Wood Brothers Museum in Stewart, Virginia.
Yeah.
So how about today?
Well, that's the hardest part, Kim. We got to go back to our day job. I'm on such a high from being in those cars. The racetrack, hot and slick. Going to have a workload through the roof today, up by the wall. Everybody out here, Kevin, is talking about tight after practice yesterday.
Yeah, and you have to be patient as a driver. This racetrack, you have to race the racetrack, and I know that you'll hear us say that a lot today. So easy to make a mistake. When that sun goes in and out, you're going to have some handling characteristics that are different. So it's going to be a full workload, like you say, for the drivers.
And it starts right here off the turn.
Cars out. As far as in.
Boys, we're coming to green.
You ready, buddy?
I'm ready, buddy.
Pace car that Clint rode Friday.
Oh, look at Carl Edwards.
Nice crowd on hand. Hot day in the Carolinas.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Chevy and Ford front row.
Green flag is out. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys, at Darlington. Oh, look at that. Wow.
Always one of the hardest parts of the race right there, coming off of turn 2, trying to get single file 2 wide. You're going to see these guys run the bottom of the racetrack all the way below that line, but you're going to pay the price if you run down there too long, Clint. You have to be able to take care of the tires, or this car will burn that right rear tire off.
Take care of the tires. When does that start, Kevin?
Now, it starts right now, but you can't give up any track position at
Cool,
the beginning of these restarts. You have to protect yourself and put yourself in a position to maintain or minimize the loss of track position as much as you can.
Ryan Blaney dives low in the corner. Trying to pick up not 1, but 2 spots. It does.
Yeah, they're cool about that turn 3 and 4. I mean, realistically, you're about off the racetrack right there. Those asphalt, kind of just a suggestion at this place. You can get low, but you better not do it long. Expect a lot of tires right there.
Yeah, and you see him right there, funnel off at turn 2. There's a patch of asphalt that's kind of blended in to be gray like the rest of the racetrack, but a lot of grip off at turn 2, but still very difficult to run too wide as you see Blaney shoot down below those hash marks. And as those hash marks get rubbered up, those things get more grip, and I used to love to use those things and put that right side tire on those hash marks.
Track workers were late into the night repainting the walls red and white here at Darlington. We'll have the stripe count for you as we go through the day.
Oh!
Larson, backstretch, off of 2. Kevin, you just told us about how narrow it is over there. There's another problem. There's a bump.
Yeah, and the way that these cars run, a lot of times they bottom out and it'll just jump the back of the car out underneath it.
Boy, that car is hurt.
Rolling if you can.
Larson was running 19th when the car got up from under him. Field has come to pit road under this first caution flag of the day. Kyle Larson at lap number 4. Here's Denny Hamlin's pit stop. The 2311 car is leaving.
Well, I like this. I always want to be on offense, and that first run of the race is always a little bit harder on the tires. With the racetrack clean, get a quick adjustment on your car, and these guys are going to be able to be on offense and try to go forward.
Ryan Blaney had to back up in his pit stall to leave to avoid this car, the 88 of Shane Van Gisbergen. Regan?
Mike, just to follow up on what Kevin just said about being on the offense, that's exactly what Chris Gale and Denny Hamlin's team were thinking right there. They figured they were going to be one of the last cars in line that stayed out on those 3-lap tires and were worried about that, so the option was to put the driver on the offense instead.
All right, let's take a look at what happened to Kyle Larson at turn 2.
Well, you're going to see Kyle Larson right back here. He's going to get those left side tires below those hatch marks, and that's in that section. It was before the bump that car took off, and the way that they repaved that section, it doesn't really flow like the banking does. It's much harder to cross, so get those left side tires on the apron right there. Really edgy, right? Yeah. And it's already pretty edgy when you're side by side like that, and having to pitch that car down and touching the apron at the same time just spun out.
And here's what happened on Ryan Blaney's stop. You can see he stops deep in the box, almost right up to the white line. Right side's done. They come around to the left, and you see the pit board waving for Van Gisbergen, who comes in, and he's stopped at the outside part of his box. So Blaney has to back up.
Actually did a good job backing up, getting out of there as good as possible.
Yeah, these cars are super hard to turn when they're going slow. It feels like you got to turn the wheel 3 times. So Kyle Larson to the garage,
Where they can repair that car and come back into the race.
Yeah, I just said right there at the beginning of the race, Kevin, turn 2 is definitely one of the turns that is the trickiest here.
Ready, Papa?
Run out of real estate. There's an
Ready to go back, Reed, Papa?
Now, that bump is massive. They can unload the car as you got wheel in it, spins people out.
before they repaved that section of the corner, you can use the apron.
Ready to go back, Reed, Papa?
And I think that's what Kyle was trying to do, was cheat down the racetrack a little bit to give himself room to Logano. But now that transition of the inside lane and the outside lane are sharper, it makes it much tougher.
So the first of the drivers that did pit is Bubba Wallace, who is 17th.
You ready?
Byron Priest,
You ready?
Cedric Briscoe, Bush McDowell,
Ready?
all stayed out.
Great, back down. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go back racing, boys.
Three wide, turn 2.
Well, that's those old tires and new tires coming. To see a lot of cars tied almost into the fence there, 2 or 3 deep of rows.